Hey RATBAGGERS, it's Jade. Some great news. Core Keeper is finally arriving on Xbox One and PlayStation 4 as well as Nintendo Switch on October the 17th. It's just been announced an hour ago and I'm pretty excited. I know so many of you guys have been desperate to play the game and were pretty disappointed that there was almost a last minute delay for the versions to come out as they basically hit some critical issues. Not gonna lie, I was starting to get a bit angsty as well about any kind of news. It was originally scheduled to come out obviously for everyone with the 1.0 and the next gen console releases. That did happen at the end of August, and then I think on the 15th or 17th of September these versions were meant to arrive. Something went on and since then we haven't really heard much news or info. Other people have seen some sort of release date stating the end of October, but it does look like it's arriving much sooner. So fingers crossed, no more delays, and we are going to get a chance to all now play Core Keeper on the 17th. If you are thinking of buying it physical, especially for Switch, I think that's definitely more important. Then you are going to have to wait a bit longer though, October the 29th. But either way, you're not going to regret it. If you've been watching and holding on to play this, it's a fantastic game. It's one of my favourites I've played in a long time. The game's only £16 on Nintendo Switch digitally. It's about the same I do believe on Xbox and PlayStation, so about $20. Something some people might not realise though, it is a relatively new game added to Game Pass. Game Pass changed their obviously different tiers recently. I'm sure most Xbox players know this, but unless you sign up to the Ultimate Edition, some games won't be available on day one anymore, i.e. the new Call of Duty, but it does include Core Keeper. I'm pretty sure at least. Anyway, it was one of the games that sadly was in relatively recent new releases, meaning that day one on Game Pass doesn't apply unless you've got the Ultimate Edition of Game Pass. If anyone wants to correct me on that, then go ahead. But literally like a month, 3 weeks maybe after Core Keeper came out on Xbox Series S and X, Microsoft introduced their new tiers, so you may still be on an old tier because you've got codes and stuff, but any new players, any new people trying to pick up maybe Core Keeper thinking they'll be able to get it as part of just the basic Game Pass, I do believe it's worth noting it will not be there unless you've got the Ultimate Edition or have already got loads of codes giving you the kind of same benefits. As said, absolutely love the game. Hopefully that's pretty obvious by the amount of videos and live streams I've been doing of the game, and I'm not stopping, although I have slowed down a little bit with certain content as I try and include a bit more different stuff. I do want to see what it's going to be like when it's running on some of the older gen consoles. I have got a Switch, so I'm going to see if I can get hold of a review key. I'm pretty confident these devs know what they're doing, and the port teams that they've maybe hired to do the job, I'm sure have done a great job. It definitely plays pretty well on Xbox Series X. I've been playing it with my son quite a bit. There are some differences though between the console versions and PC that I'm really hoping get added and improved on in future. The ability to map buttons, which I assumed would be there from day one on console, isn't, and it's pretty vital and needed for the console versions. It's not a default setting on PC, but you can absolutely add it that you can use even with a controller, D-pad buttons, to go ahead and have them as extra ways to utilise either inventory, or the best use for me has been absolutely swapping out in between the different classes. You've got 3 different gear sets that you can wear, and it's a pain in the arse having to go into the menus to switch on the fly whenever you're fighting a bunch of creatures. I transferred it pretty much to my up D-pad and right D-pad so that I could switch and flick between, and it's honestly game changing. Going from your range class to your minor class at a drop of a button really is beneficial. Of course, you should hopefully be able to do more than that if they add the remapping options, and I'm praying that's something that's going to come to consoles very soon. There are mods for PC, but they're not available for console yet, but there might be hope in the future, we'll have to see. Obviously, performance is going to be a bit of an issue. With the Switch version, it's not up to 8 player, it is only up to 4 player actual co-op. Xbox One and PS4, it's still 8 players. So just bear that in mind. And as usual, if you're playing with others, you will need PSN or Xbox Live to go ahead and play multiplayer, but of course you can play it on your own single player without any extra needed. And it doesn't look like they're adding any kind of crossplay, which is a real shame, but they've categorically stated that it's not something they're working on at the moment. I'm not saying it might not ever come, but it's definitely something that you won't see straight away. So sadly, if you're on PlayStation, you won't be able to play with your Xbox pals. Likewise, if you're on Switch, you won't be able to play with any others. But yes, of course, Xbox One, you will be able to play with Xbox Series S and X, and PS4, you will be able to play with PS5. At the very least, if they can't get crossplay, it would be nice and good if they could at least get cross-save. And at the moment, if you're going to boot up your Switch version, but you love the game so much you've got it on another platform, you won't be able to transfer any of your save data over. That's all stuff that we can hope comes, and if we talk about it enough, it will be feedback I'm sure the devs will take on board and maybe try and implement. This might not seem like such a big deal. Oh, why are people still playing on old gen consoles? Well, obviously the Switch is massively popular, still outselling Xbox One and now starting to outsell PlayStation 5 this year. And a reminder that over 50 million people are still playing on PlayStation 4 devices. I think the combined total is something like 125 million units being sold of a PS4, and so 50 million people still using a PS4 and PSN. That's a huge number to really not miss out on with a game like this. Core Keeper is getting more content. They've stated a bunch of times now they're working on updates and content that will be coming. It's not finished with the 1.0, although the story is they can still add new stuff, and they've made preparations for that as well. So yeah, I'll definitely be picking this up on the Switch, and I might even indeed try and get a physical copy edition of the game if I can. If you've been waiting for this announcement, then go and make sure you're prepared by watching some of my starter guides, getting you in the loop before it launches. Until next time, Ratbags, I'll catch you later.